News for Jax, Assistant Chief Meteorologist David Eckert. No doubt about it, it's been a pretty active severe weather season across the U.S., even in the month of January, and a pretty active tornado season as well. Get this from the Storm Prediction Center. Had preliminary reports of 139 tornadoes. Now, that number is going to shrink because we get a lot of duplicate reports. Some tornado reports will actually be converted to straight-line wind events. But you get the idea, that's a lot of tornadoes considering the average in the month of January across the country is 47. And here locally, we already had 2 in southeast Georgia. We're also well above, unfortunately, the number of deaths due to tornadoes. We've already had 8 deaths in the United States. The average is 0. So what exactly is going on here? Well, a lot of this has to do with La Nina and the fact we've had some very powerful systems across portions of the Pacific. So as we head into our January tornado pattern here, you can see a lot of these systems develop actually in the Pacific Ocean, and you've seen cities like San Francisco, Sacramento just get hammered with heavy rain, mudslides, incredible snow amounts in some of the mountain terrains as well in California. And these storm systems, courtesy of a more southern jet stream, they actually continue to work their way through the plain states. We organize, intensify, and then they tap into a lot of deep tropical moisture and some very unstable air that's now setting up shop in the northern Gulf Coast states. That's why we've seen a lot of tornadoes already this year in states like Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. But for us, the storm track's mainly been towards the north into parts of middle and north Georgia, which is why we've escaped a lot of the more severe weather, and it's also why a lot of these storm systems kind of weaken as they work their way into the air. And we do have the threat for more activity later on heading into Tuesday and Wednesday. The other big factor here is the cold and stable air mass we normally have draped across the Midwest, Northeast, even parts of the Southeast. That's been shoved well towards the north. That's allowing this warmer, more unstable air mass, which is what thunderstorms need to develop tornadoes. That's beginning to push its way northward. In fact, Iowa's already had reports of tornadoes this year. Very unusual for the month of January in the parts of northern Midwest. And we have the threat for more severe weather here heading into Tuesday. In fact, on a big corridor from the Corpus Christi region all the way up into the western section of the Panhandle, outlook for severe weather. And we have the threat for some tornadoes. As gold shades the area, we're really keeping an eye on from Houston, Galveston, Baton Rouge, New Orleans through the Mobile area. We could even be talking about some strong tornadoes here at some point later on into Tuesday and Tuesday night. The storm system will weaken, but it is going to impact us, it looks like. In fact, most of the region in this gold shade under a slight risk for strong to severe thunderstorms. Jacksonville in the green shade, that is a marginal risk, so maybe just an isolated stray storm. And what we think is going to happen here is a pretty good line of showers and storms will develop out towards our north and west. They will push their way eastward as they have in the last several storm systems, but they will also begin to weaken. We can't rule out the threat for a tornado. I do think the much higher tornado threat is going to be on Tuesday out towards our west, but an isolated tornado can't be ruled out into parts of southeast Georgia and areas along I-75 in North Florida. This is Chief Meteorologist David Eckert for Channel 4, the local station.